Good morning and welcome. I'm Sandy. This is How Do I? Today we're going to talk about making stadium bags. Stadium bags are super easy to make. Now you know when you go to the stadium you have to have a clear bag. I researched a lot of the rules. Most stadiums it has to be totally clear. It can't have a decal or a patch or anything on it. And 12 inches wide is the largest they will allow, and 12 inches the length, and a 6-inch bottom. I didn't really want a 6-inch bottom. I don't go to a stadium that often. I don't take that much stuff. But I love if you don't do that either, don't go away, because you can also use these as project bags. They're clear, easy to see your project in it. You could use it as a makeup bag, or if you're flying, you have to have all your toiletries in a specific clear bag. You could use this. So I made 2 of them, a little bit different. Go crackin'. Actually, I should have made a Mariner's one, but I didn't. First thing, clear vinyl. Clear vinyl comes on a roll like this. This is by Annie Clear Vinyl. It is 16 gauge. You will want 12 to 16 gauge. The higher the gauge, the firmer the vinyl. So 12 gauge is this, and it's not super firm. But once I have something in there, it will be fine. Cutting vinyl is really tricky. So Tony and I came up with this really great way to cut vinyl, and I have a couple pieces here so I can show you. Usually when you roll it off, it might be a little wonky. And I know they tell you don't use the lines on your mat, but these lines match up perfectly to my ruler, so I'm using them. You take masking tape or painter's tape. I'm over this line just a little bit, and I'll tape it down. I'm going to put a little roll of tape underneath of it so that when I lift my ruler up, it doesn't all pick up with it. So I've got my vinyl tape down. Now down here you see I'm really wonky to that line, so I'll tape it down here too. Then all I have to do is follow the lines on my mat with my ruler and cut it straight. I'm going to follow this line right here. I'm a lefty or a righty. I think I'll switch this over to being a lefty. Nope, that won't work. Has to stay righty. We'll just do like that. Okay. If I did that really well, it would be straight, but there you go. You have 2 straight edges. So now, when you're cutting your pieces of vinyl for your bag, all you have to do is move your ruler along to cut. And I've got it taped down so it's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to stay straight on both the top or the side and the bottom. I can straighten off the top too if I want. Let's say I'm reeling it off the roll and I want 14 inches. So I would just put my ruler up to where the 14 inches was, line it up with my mat, and cut. And I'd have my 14-inch piece. Super easy to cut vinyl. Just take your painter's tape. Okay, so we've got our vinyl cut. For this bag, you want to cut 2 pieces that are 12 inches wide by 14 inches long. 12 by 14. And then one of them we're going to cut down. Depending on if you want to put something up in the corner, this one has a screw-in grommet. This one has a hammer-in very large rivet. You can do either, you can do neither. It's totally up to you. But I left 3 inches. So I cut my first piece of vinyl down 3 inches. So I ended up with 2 pieces. So I have 2 pieces for the front, 1 for the back. And now we're going to talk about our zipper. Zipper comes in zipper by the yard. There's number 3, which is this Sally Tomato nylon zipper. It looks like metal, but you can sew over it. And there's number 5 zippers. This is also Sally Tomato, but you see how much wider they are. It's just the look you're going for. It really doesn't matter which zipper you use. So I'm going to make a little smaller bag today just to show you all the things. So you can either use bias tape, which is like this. It's folded. Or you can make your own, which I did here. This was a 2.5 inch piece. I pressed it in half and then pressed it to the inside and then pressed it. So this little bag is 10 inches wide. So I want my zipper an inch shorter than my bag. So I'm going to cut my zipper 9 inches. I got a little bubble in there when I was doing it, so I'm going to take it to the back and open it up. See, I was just a little uneven there, but that's okay, because you're going to take some little squares of fabric. They are, depending on your zipper, if you have the wide zipper, you'd want to cut it like 1 1/4. This zipper is a little narrower. It's only 1 inch wide, but I still have these at 1 1/4. I'm going to sew one on this end. If it was fancy fabric, it would be right sides together with the zipper sandwiched in between like that. Now when you sew with vinyl, you want your machine set at a 3.5 stitch. That's a pretty long stitch, but you don't want to just perforate your vinyl and perforate, because then it will tear. And I have my zipper foot on already. I sew the whole bag with the zipper foot. I'll just put this under here. And wakey wakey, little machine. Wow. You know, when you're standing up and you're not at home, you can kind of mess this up. But there you go. You do like this. And then stitch it again to finish it. Then you would take the same for the other side. Put those on. Then you would take either your binding like this or your binding like this, and you would sew it on so the open side faces away. You're sewing the fold. See, I sewed the fold down to my zipper tape. That's all you're sewing, is the fold to your zipper tape. And you do that on both sides. Then you take your smaller piece of vinyl, stick it in that fold like that. You've already have your zipper sewn to it like here, and sew the other side. And that's what hooks the vinyl to your zipper. So the bottom side here, I'm ready to sew. I'll just put it in there. Now if it doesn't stay for you really nicely, sometimes vinyl is ornery, you can use Stitch Perfection tape. It is a sticky wash away tape. Now the wash away part you wouldn't really be using because you have no reason to wash it away, but it will hold the vinyl to your fabric because you cannot pin vinyl. So it would hold your vinyl to your fabric for you, and it would just live there indefinitely. The reason you want this one instead of Heat and Bond or something like that is because those you have to press on, and we have no iron when we're working with our vinyl. For a needle, I just use my regular 80-12 sewing needle. If you have problems with it sticking in your vinyl, then you might want to go to one of those non-stick needles that have the Teflon coating on them. That works too. Or you could try a jeans needle. That works as well. So if I use this, I'd put a little bit, and I know you can't see this vinyl. That's why I brought out the red, was because I thought maybe it would be easier to see. So I just put a little. Normally you could do the whole thing. It wouldn't hurt. Oh, there I did. I put it on my ruler. See how easy that is to see? Put it in there, and you put it all the way up to your sewing line. Get it worked in there all the way up, and then you just finger press it down. Now it will hold it for you, and you can go sew. So once again, I have my stitch length at 3.5. I have my zipper foot on, I wouldn't really need it here, but I like the length between the edge of the zipper foot and the needle. I have about 1/8 of an inch, and that's just perfect to sew this. See if I can do better this time. Now if your vinyl sticks to your sewing machine, just hold it up with one hand. And there you go. Voila! Viola! You have it stitched. Your vinyl's in place. The next thing we're going to do is put our back on. See, aren't we moving quickly? Isn't this cool? Now vinyl sticks to itself. So I cut a red back just so you'd be able to see it. And vinyl's going to stick right to itself. I hardly even need clips. There we go. It's stuck to itself. Now if one or the other is longer or shorter, here's where you could trim them both even, here at the bottom. Mine are pretty good, so I'm just going to leave them. The other thing you want to do is take your scissors, and you can trace a spool or something, or you can just take your scissors and round your corners just a little bit. That way when you're going around the corner, it will be nice and smooth. You can also cut this side so that it's even with your vinyl. Okay, so there it is. Now you want to cut out the bottom corners. That is what makes your bottom part. For this little bag, since it's probably just going to be a toiletry bag or something like that, I'm just going to cut out maybe 1.25 inches from each corner. Whatever size you cut the corner, if you double that, that's how wide your bottom will be. So 1.25 inches doubled is 2.5 inches. That's how wide the bottom part of my bag will be. Let's take a pen. Doesn't matter, it's going to be covered. Both sides. Inch and a quarter. And then cut it out. Cut that corner. The reason I cut my corners before I sew is because I'm going to bind the outside edges around here. That's this part. I'm going to bind all of this. Once again, you can use pre-purchase binding. I'd use the 1/2 inch wide and put it around. You could make your own binding and put it around, but you'd need bias because you're going around curves. Or what I really love to use is the By Annie fold over elastic. It's 1 inch wide. It has a little line in the middle where it folds. See that right there? So now generally I don't clip. I just take and put it, and as I'm sewing I just hold it to my edges all the way around, and I would sew it. Okay? In the interest of time, I'm not going to do that because you all know how to sew, and you all know how to just sew it around and cut it off. Then the fun part begins. So this one I've already sewn. You know the easiest way to turn vinyl? Your blow dryer. Stick it in, warm it up, and it turns like butter. So this one, let me give it one more, oh, there we go, is the red one. I sewed it around. Now you open your zipper all the way because we're going to do the bottom from the inside. And that's why I had it inside out. You turn it back inside out to do the bottom. It's still warm, so it still turns pretty well, but if it didn't, I just give it another shot with the blow dryer. It really does help. And if you have, when you order vinyl from online sources, like for the colored vinyl, I had to order it, they do not send it on a roll. They send it all folded up, so you have creases in it, wherever they folded it to fit in your box. And you think, oh man, what am I going to do with this creased up vinyl? Well, what you do is pull out your blow dryer. Just warm it up, and you can get all the little creases and puckers and anything else out of it. So, there we go. Now I've turned it back inside out. My corners are cut. My bottom lines up pretty well. Now what I'm going to do is sew it. And I have red thread on, but that's okay. If I was at home, I'd change my thread. But still with my long stitch, 3.5, still with my zipper foot, put it down, put my vinyl. I stop with my needle down, it just helps hold things. Just fold it over again. If it sticks, just hold it up a little bit. The majority of what's under your presser foot and on your feed dogs is your elastic. So it feeds really nicely. And here we are, you can see I did the bottom. I'm going to cut it off even. Then we're going to box our corners. I do this from the inside as well. That way the vinyl isn't sitting on concrete or whatever. If you really do take this to the stadium, you wouldn't have your elastic sitting on the concrete because you could give it some pulls and runs. Now I don't fold under the edge because once it's stuck in that corner, no one's going to see it. It's not going to ravel. It's not going to rip. I just cover it. And here, if I had a clip, yes, I'd probably clip it. And then you go over and sew your corner. I would backstitch, but I didn't because I didn't know where to do it on this machine. Okay, there's one corner. Do the same for the other corner. Some places will tell you to cut off pieces and have your fold over elastic already cut in little sections. I don't like to do that because I think it wastes my elastic. This way I get the most out of my elastic I can get. Ha. Come on, a little more. There. I reversed it that time. Okay, come back over, cut your elastic, cut any extra threads you have hanging around. Now stick your blow dryer in there and warm it up a bit. And look how nice it turns. It's just like fabric or butter. And you just work out your corners. Work everything out. Vinyl is sticky by nature, but not that bad once you've warmed it up. So, this could be a project bag. It could not be a game day bag. Well, they may let me in the stadium because my teal is really light. You can hardly see. But I would call if you're going to a concert or a stadium and ask, you know, if my vinyl is very lightly colored, will you still let me in? Because the worst thing in the world would be to get there and then them tell you you can't come in. There. Yeah, it takes a little fiddling, but there you go. It's all turned right side out. There's my zipper. Essentially, it's done. But what if you want some way to carry it? Like this. Or this. It's very easy to put these grommets in. They are Sally Tomato grommets. There's a set of 4. They screw together. Sure. With those screws. So what you would do would be take this, take it apart, take your screws out, put it in the corner, trace around just the bottom part with your pen, and then cut that circle out. You might have to cut just a little bit more, but you have a lot of room in between there. So once you've got your circle cut out, you just put it back together, this on the back, this on the front, and screw your screws in, and you've got it. One thing, I would not recommend using this kind of a hook. It took me forever and a day to get this hook around there. Go carabiners. No problem getting that on. And then you can use your hook to hang things. You can make a tassel. You can embroider a little, this is Kraken, so I had to embroider a little octopus to go with it. You can use belting or webbing and make a wristlet. Or if you put the 2 in, you could make it crossbody bag. It's, you know, really it's personal preference once we get to this point. You can do any way you want to make it yours. Okay? Were there any questions? I used the 80-12 needle, or you could use a jeans needle or a Teflon needle. I never changed my settings once I put it to 3.5 and my zipper foot. I didn't even move the needle. I left it dead center because that gave me my 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I think that's it. Have fun making your stadium bags and make sure you post them on our YouTube, on our Facebook page so I can see them. Okay?